Well, on Friday's video report, I took a split with my complimentary plays. The one that I really liked, Washington, well, the Wizards took care of business easily against Toronto. The one I took a shot with, Boston, well, the Celtics got clobbered in Milwaukee. But I've still won 12 of my last 16 complimentary plays over the past week and a half here on the video reports. And I'm going to take a look at two of your games today. New Orleans and Portland, a series I'm a perfect 3-0 with. Hit a free play with the Pelicans in game number 1, and then came back with top-rated 15-dime best bets on New Orleans in games 2 and 3. Really like the game, but that tells you how much I really love the game 3 between Houston and Minnesota, because that's my top-rated 15-dime best bet today, which then, of course, drops the New Orleans-Portland contest to free play status. And I also am going to take a look at game number 4 between Miami and Philadelphia as well here on the video report. Now, personally, last night, well, luck was definitely in my corner as I cashed in with yet another top-rated 15-dime best bet, my 4th in a row, my 5th out of 6 over the past week, as I had the Pacers climbing back from that 17-point deficit at home to come back to get the cover against Cleveland. So no complaints from this corner, needless to say. Also, no complaints from Shawn Michaels, because he was also on Indiana last night as another top-rated 100-dime max wager release. He is once again the featured play today, and why the hell not? Because he's going for his 8th consecutive winning day. He has another 100-dime NBA max wager release. It is on Houston, Minnesota, just like last night's on Indiana, just like Thursday's on New Orleans, Wednesday's on Indiana, Tuesdays on New Orleans, Mondays on Golden State. You're going to get it once again for over half price off simply by using coupon code HOOPS, H-O-O-P-S. And remember, today being Saturday, each and every Saturday, I've given you a money-saving discount coupon code that can save you potentially hundreds of dollars off your potential or off your purchase price. And that coupon code today is 24%, 24%, sing it after me. That is a mix and match coupon, good for any combination of handicappers, picks, and or packages. The only limitation, it's a one-time usage coupon, which means you've got to put everything in your shopping cart at one time to maximize your savings. So if you ever have any questions on the usage, you can always contact customer service. All your other discounts, codes, etc., coupons, promos, etc., are over on the home page. Let's get to your complimentary plays. FYI, Sean and I, same side of the Houston-Minnesota contest. So if you have a package with me, you automatically know what Sean has, or vice versa here tonight, because I made sure I checked to see what Sean was on before I started this video report. And hell, he's won 7 straight days, and I feel just as good about my pick as he does, obviously, tonight. So let's talk about this game with New Orleans and Portland. Listen, a closeout game is the toughest game to win. I don't care if you're playing at home or if you're playing on the road, because especially when a team is going for a clean sweep, the team that is in the deficit position, that being Portland today, they've got absolutely nothing to lose other than the game, right? So New Orleans is a 7-point favorite. And again, I love the Pelicans in this game, which, as I said earlier, just shows you how much more I love the Houston-Minnesota contest today in game number 3 in that series. The Pelicans have absolutely dominated the series. They went into the series on a roll, closing out the regular season with 5 straight wins, where I felt that the Trailblazers had peaked back in March. They closed the regular season losing 5 out of 6. You've seen that in each game in this series, somebody different has taken the reins for the New Orleans offense. In game number 1, it was Anthony Davis with a monster game. In game number 2, it was Jrue Holiday. In game number 3, it was Nikolai Mirotic with the 30.8 rebound performance on 12 for 15 shooting. But the constant in this series, well, there's really been 2 of them. And listen, there's really been 4 of them. Let's be honest. Anthony Davis has just been unstoppable in the blocks throughout this series. Jrue Holiday has just been tremendous with the lock lockdown defense he has played, totally taking out Damon Stoudemire from his game, and has also been a steady offensive performer, having that monstrous game in game number 2 where he exploded for 30 points, shooting close to 50% from the field. Number 3, Mirotic has just been a revelation since they acquired him from Chicago, really making DeMarcus Cousins disappear from the landscape and probably from the future from this franchise. There's really no need for them to go out and sign him to some max wager contract, putting themselves in salary cap hell for years to come when you think about how he has contributed once he was acquired from the Bulls. And finally, Rajon Rondo has once again turned into playoff Rondo. His steadying hand, his ability to get guys the ball, his ability to also play lockdown defense as well. Again, Stoudemire and C.J. McCollum have disappeared in this series. And Rondo, coming off another stellar performance in game number 4 with 16 points and 11 assists. These 4 guys have just been pillars for the Pelicans in this series, all taking starring roles, all delivering game in, game out. There is no other way to play this game than to bet New Orleans. Now, do the Pelicans take their foot off the accelerator? Perhaps. Do the Trailblazers play with house money because they have absolutely nothing to lose? Perhaps. But listen, Portland doesn't contend in this game unless their guards, unless Damon and CJ, they have to combine for at least 55 points. And they have yet to do so in this series. First time they combined for over 40. Hitting 42 was in game number 3. They've got to combine for 55 points to have the Portland Trailblazers in contention in game number 4. So far, they haven't been able to do so. The team has been weak on the blocks. They've been dominated down low. So I say if you're going to play it, you play Portland. They're going to win the game. End the story. You go with the Trailblazers. Philadelphia and Miami. The difference in this series, and the only reason that Miami won game number 2, as I pointed out prior to my analysis in game number 3, was the fact that Philadelphia had a bad shooting night. Listen, in game number 1, the 76ers, who really became a more deadly three-point shooting team once Joel Embiid went out, because without their big man in there, they were forced to space the floor more. They always had length. By when Embiid went out, they were able to use their passing more, space the floor more, work the ball to the perimeter. They have some great three-point shooters, but they became deadly marksmen from the outside when they didn't have their big guy to throw the ball down into the post, okay? And over the last 10, 12 games of the regular season, you could see how their offensive game just kind of became rejiggered and became so much more deadly from the outside. And in game number 1, you saw they hit 18 of 28 three-pointers. In game number 3, they broke that game open, and they were steady offensively once again. Game number 3, let me just look at the box score real quick if I can find it. Game number 3, 18 for 34 with three-pointers. In game number 2, 9 for 25. That's an anomaly. That's not the usual for the 76ers. It wasn't because Miami was so much more physical. It helped that Dwayne Wade found the fountain of youth in game number 2. But it was because the Sixers couldn't shoot. That's what happened. That's why they lost game number 2. Now, Embiid came back in game number 3, and he gave them certainly a big lift. Was he rusty offensively? Yes. 0 for 5 for his first 5 shots from the field. Then he hit 5 out of 6, including 3 three-pointers. He had 10 of 15 from the free throw line. But of course, he also had 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 blocks. And what I liked was the fact when the ball went inside, it didn't necessarily go into the black hole. He was more than willing to give the ball out. The Sixers still had that great ball movement. I thought that they also played up-tempo, which they had to do against a slower Miami team, that's not their style. It was a close game. I thought at halftime when you saw the score in the high 50s, I thought that you saw the score at the end of 3 quarters in the 90s, that this was a Heat team that was going to wilt, and they did in the 4th quarter when the 76ers blew them out 32-14 in the final frame, onward to that 128-108 victory. The Sixers are going to have to score in the 110, 115, 120 range to win this game. I think that they will. I think that the Heat are just going to be overmatched once more, and I think Philadelphia is playing with so much confidence. I've got to lay the 3 points with Philadelphia in this game. So I like New Orleans and Philadelphia. I like the Pelicans a little bit more. Those are your two free selections for this Saturday card. Wish you well. Talk to you again on Sunday.